Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. This is your host Ram on your daily cricket show, Cricket Happenings. And today there were two matches that happened in the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. England versus Bangladesh. England ran up their highest ever total in World Cup history of 386 for 6, and was always and Jason Roy was the one who led the way with a wonderful knock of 153 runs laced with boundaries and sixes, and Bangladesh were absolutely, the bowlers were absolutely at the receiving end of Jason Roy's onslaught there, and finally 386 for 6, as I said, this is the highest score by England in World Cup history. And also England also had went on to another record, and that was having scored 300 plus scores for the 7th consecutive time in one-day internationals, and Australians were the last ones to do so. They held the record for doing scoring 300 plus scores 6 times on the trot. So England finally now holding that record. But nevertheless, so Bangladesh definitely struggled, and their batting could not come to the fore, barring Shakib Al Hasan, who has been playing extremely well in this World Cup. This is his third consecutive 50, as today he went on higher and higher, and made a very good score for his team scores, but unfortunately could not get much support. 121, Mushfiqur making 44, and Bangladesh ended up 106 runs short of the target. Now the other game that happened was New Zealand winning Afghanistan. Afghanistan were definitely they got off to a very good start from Hazratullah Zazai, the opener, and the other opener who had replaced Mohammad Shahzad due to injury, Nur Ali Zadran. They put on 66 runs in the power play overs, but after that James Neesham took over and started ripping up the wickets, and he really put them on the back foot with 3 wickets, and finally ended up with figures of 5 for 31. Ferguson, pacer Ferguson, supported him admirably well with 4 wickets, and that was the end. The Afghanistans were bowled out to 172, with all the other experienced batsmen not really making any impression. Mohammad Nabi failing for the 3rd consecutive time, and as far as and one was a bit surprised that Afghanistan decided not to go with 3 spinners, and besides they were crippled with Rashid Khan, the ace spinner, actually while batting, trying to come forward as he normally does, was really taken by the sort of extra bounce that pacer Ferguson was getting, and the ball actually going past his, hitting the helmet, ricocheting off his helmet, and clean bowling him. But later on, one learned that his eyes had bulged, and Rashid Khan could not even bowl in this particular game, and one only hopes that Rashid Khan is fit for the match against South Africa, because Afghanistan collected their 3rd consecutive loss in the World Cup, and New Zealand notching up their 3rd consecutive win on the trot, and really sitting pretty on the World Cup standings list, with having won all the games with 6 points in their name. So now let's have a look at the as to what really happened. So England, Bangladesh, as I said, England winning the match by 106 runs. England 386. So if you look at it, they had a very good partnership going. Jason Roy and Jonathan, Johnny Barristow doing a very good turn. 128 runs being added. Initially, one thought that Shakib Al Hasan, who was bowling, who started off proceedings along with his captain Mustafa Murtaza, definitely it was not easy to deal with Shakib Al Hasan. Shakib Al Hasan was bowling in the good areas, and Jason Roy and Jonathan Barristow had a very quiet start by their standards, but later on, once Shakib Al Hasan was off the line, he was he was replaced by another bowler, Jason Roy and Jonathan Bairstow really took over. Jason Roy looked in some great nick with his shots, and when he was hitting the shots, he was hitting them clean as a whistle. As this partnership continued with Bairstow contribution being 51 of 50 deliveries, 6 fours. He was a victim of a wonderful catch. He was taken by Marius and Mirage diving forward off the bowling of Mashraf Murtaza. He was gone for 51. Root made a very quite 21 of 29, one boundary. Jason Roy was carrying on at that juncture as Josh Butler joined him, and suddenly there was a raining of runs when Josh Butler joined, as from 30 runs really came up in pretty quickly, and then finally Jason Roy departed out from 153 of 121 deliveries, included 14 fours and 5 glorious sixes. Butler, as usual, showing his pyro techniques, contributed 64 of 44, 2 fours and 4 sixes. Morgan cracked 35 of 33, 1 4, 2 sixes. Ben Stokes was the only one who actually failed on this wonderful batting pitch. He was out for just 6 runs, and finally Liam Plunkett took over with an unbeaten knock of 27 of 9 deliveries, included 4 fours and 1 6, and Vokes went on to make an unbeaten 18 of just 8 deliveries, 19 of 2 sixes in that, as England went on to their highest ever total in World Cup history of 386 for 6. If you look at the bowling, does not make any happy reading for the Bangladeshi. Shakib Al Hasan initially looked good, but after that got a bit of a clatter. 10 overs, none for 71. Mashraf Murtaza, 10 overs, 1 for 68. Mohammad Saifuddin, 9 overs, 2 for 78. Mustafizur Rahman, 9 overs, 1 for 75. Marius and Mirage, 10 overs, 2 for 67. And Mosaddaq Hussain, 2 overs, slam for 24. Now Bangladesh were given a target of 387 runs to win. They never had it for themselves, losing opener Soumya Sarkar to this ace bowler from England, Jofra Archer, who clean bowled him. He got some extra pace onto it, and Soumya Sarkar was totally beaten by the delivery. Absolute beauty of delivery. It nipped off the seam at good pace and went on to the off stump, in fact, I played forward and the stump went backwards. Beautiful bowling. In fact, there was a tremendous exhibition of bowling with the new ball by Jofra Archer, which was great to see. Soumya Sarkar was the first breakthrough. After that, Tamim Iqbal was consumed by Mark Wood, who was also ramping up the pace. Shakib Al Hasan continued, and he made a good contribution. The only good thing for Bangladesh that happened was that partnership after Tamim Iqbal was gone was 106 runs. But again, the overs were consumed at that particular point of time, and always 386 was definitely going to be a tall task, as Bangladesh in World Cups have chased a maximum of 280 runs, I reckon, with Mushfiqur Rahim making 44 of 50, 2 boundaries, but Shakib Al Hasan went on to make a century and is looking in some prime form in this World Cup. But 121 of 119 deliveries, included 12 fours and 1 6. Mithun was out for not. Mahmudullah made 28 with 1 4, 1 6. Mosaddaq made 16, 4 fours. Saifuddin 5, Marius and Mirage 12, and 280 all out. End of the show as for Bangladesh, as they were bowled out for 280. You look at the bowling there. Jofra Archer, as I said, was definitely making batting hell for the Bangladeshi batsmen. He was surprising them with pace and bounce, and he's such a nippy sort of bowler that I think every opposition batsman would be really has to really watch out. Vokes 8 overs, 9 for 67. Jofra Archer 8.5 overs, 2 mediums, 29 runs and 3 wickets. Liam Plunkett 8 overs, 1 for 36. Markwood 252. Rashid was really given a real pasting, 10 overs, 1 for 64. Ben Stokes 6 overs, 1 for 3 for 23, combined very well with Jofra Archer, and that was it. Jason Roy was man of the match, and it was the end of the match as far as Bangladesh and Bangladesh and England were concerned. England getting a win there. Now the next match that we are talking about is New Zealand versus Afghanistan. It was totally one-sided, with Afghanistan actually batting first and were bowled out for 172. But I have to say that their openers really started off in a flash. Hazratullah Zazai, who likes to hit any ball which is bowled on the stumps or to the onside, his contribution being 34 of 28, 5 fours and 1 6, and Nur Ali Zadran replacing Mohammad Shahzad, who is unfortunately out of the World Cup due to injury. He was gone for 31 of 52 with 5 boundaries, and both really took full toll in the power play overs, racing 66 runs for the first wicket, with the bowling of Matt Henry, the pacer, really suffering at their hands. But after that, so that was the best thing to happen for Afghanistan in this particular innings. But once the openers and suddenly things started happening for New Zealand after the power play overs, and when James Neesham bowling very well, not really swinging the ball but really bowling a very good length, got the batsman to make some mistakes, and they ended up with figures of 531. He really put them on the back foot after that very wonderful start that the openers gave. Rahmat Shah was out for naught. After that, it was left to Hasmatullah Shahidi to actually steady the ship, and he had to do so for a great length of time, and he was the last man out, making 59 of 99, and that's a precise reason Afghanistan had a defendable score of 172. Gulbuddin Naib was out for 4. Nabi continued his very poor run in the World Cup. He was gone for just 9 runs. Zadran 4, Ikram Akli 2. Rashid Khan, as I said, got that injury after a ball recursion on the helmet of bowling of Ferguson into the stumps. Aftab Alam 14, 172 all out, and for the bowling, Aida was none for 50 for Matt Henry, who took the severe punishment from the openers especially. Bolton was none for 34. Ferguson combined very well and gave good support to James Neesham. 9 pound overs, 3 made 37 runs and 4 wickets. Neesham 10 overs unmade in 531. Grandham 4 overs made 1 for 14. New Zealand innings had a target of 173. They lost Guptill pretty early in the piece to the bowling of Aftab Alam, as Aftab Alam surprised him with a beautiful delivery. It was out for naught. Munro was dispatched for 22 by Aftab Alam, and then Kane Williamson could have been probably gone, probably in his 20s, but he survived that miss which was done, and that resulted in Kane Williamson and Taylor stitching together a partnership of 89 odd runs, with Williamson, with Taylor out for 48 of 52, 6 4 1 6, and finally Kane Williamson, the captain, took them to victory without any fuss, rather, as New Zealand completed the target in 32.1 overs. Williamson was not on a cool 79 of 99, 9 fours, and Latham was not on 13 of 18, 1 4, 173 for 3. The only thing that I would like to say here is that, as I said, one was wondering as to why Afghanistan did not go with 3 spinners. They had Mohammad Nabi, they had Mujibur and Rashid Khan, but since Rashid Khan was injured, and one hopes everything is fine with him, he could not even bowl, so that really makes it a bit serious for me, that Rashid Khan, because with this score of 172, if at all Afghanistan had to defend, it could have been Rashid Khan, that prime weapon, but unfortunately could not bowl. That was very sad. So one only hopes that Rashid Khan is fit for the match against South Africa after 1 week. So this was Afghanistan's third consecutive loss, sorry. And Mohammad Nabi bowled 3 overs, 1 for 18. Rahmat Shah 5 overs, 1 for 21. Naib Rani was 1 for 55. Hamid Hassan was 1 for 30. But Aftab Alam was impressive. 8.1 overs, no made in 45 runs, and taking all the 3 wickets that was fall, as New Zealand won the match by 7 wickets. And the man of the match was a very predictable one. This is James Neesham with his 5 wickets. So that brings an end to this cricket show of mine today, dear fans and subscribers. Hope you all enjoyed this broadcast, and you can always get on to my Twitter, where I have been tweeting about both these games, Israel versus Afghanistan and England versus Bangladesh. So you can have a look at it. And dear friends, subscribers, always a pleasure bringing you this daily cricket show of mine. Hope you all enjoyed it, and it's a final sign-off. But let me tell you, tomorrow is a crunch game in the World Cup 2019. India is taking on Australia. What a crunch game that is going to be, and one can't really wait to watch that particular match. Definitely Australia has the wood over India right now. As you know, Australia in the one-day series against India, they came from behind and stung India in such a manner that India lost the series. And let's also understand that Australia were without the services of Stephen Smith and Warner, but Stephen Smith and Warner back on duty here. Stephen Smith is already into good form. Warner doesn't take much time to get to form, even though it's not had any good knocks so far in the World Cup. But we all know David Warner, what he's capable of. So definitely India has to pull up their socks, and one wishes that we have a really a wonderful game in the offing tomorrow. Having said that, it's about time for me to do a final sign off on this cricket show of mine. Thanks for watching